Hi there. So a lot of you are coming to me from Grizzly's Hood News. Thank you, Grizzly Castillo. So to make it easier for you to understand what's going on, I'm going to put it in a format that you can understand from start to finish. I will call it the Langwood murder because the neighborhood this took place in was Langwood in Northwest Houston. So, my nephew, a little background on my nephew. My nephew was adopted by my uncle, Big AJ, and his wife, Betty. Betty was my aunt by marriage, but she was my aunt. I loved Betty. Betty had 2 kids from a previous marriage. I will call one of them Rachel, not her real name. Her name is Rachel. So, Rachel has 4 children, 2 daughters. We'll call them Sherry and Cassandra. Sherry and Cassandra are roughly my nephew, little AJ's age. They kind of grew up with him. There was never a closed adoption. We all knew what was going on. But my Aunt Betty didn't want him raised by anyone outside the family. And she'd always wanted a child with my Uncle AJ. So this was their child. Now my Aunt Betty dies when little AJ is about 9 or 10. She dies. Now, she gets Social Security survivor benefits, I've later found out. She gets a lump sum about 2 years ago, which her daughter was not happy that AJ got any portion of. For whatever reason, can't pretend like I know why. But she is upset that AJ gets any portion of it. And eventually he gets roughly $4,000. She's not happy with this. She's proven this in screenshots. She's still fighting to this day to get that back. Okay. She's working with a disability attorney. She sent me screenshots. He tells her to call Social Security Disability. She says, I've been doing that for the past 10 years. They haven't helped. Okay. So, little AJ is in a relationship with a girl named Joni. It's a very toxic relationship, very volatile. They fight a lot. My nephew is not perfect in any way. He had a drug addiction. Him and Joni constantly fighting. They have a record. My nephew had a PR bond out for a retaliation charge. So he's wearing an ankle monitor under the jurisdiction of Harris County. So my nephew on Easter goes to an Easter cookout with my family. That's the last time my sister sees him. April 8th, he hangs out with his cousins and a friend. And part 2 will continue. So, on April 8th of this year, he's hanging out with his 2 cousins, Rachel's daughters, Sherry and Cassandra, and a friend, we'll call her Deborah. All different names. So, something happens this night that I haven't quite put together. One, they're hanging out in the car in the middle of the night. We're talking like 2 to 3 a.m., approximately. I have a record of it, but, this is approximate. Hanging out in a car. Maybe they're smoking weed. No biggie. They're young. I know what I did when I was young. They could be smoking meth too, because my nephew has a meth addiction, or had a meth addiction. I'm a recovering meth addict. I don't say that to judge him. I'm just trying to get into his state of mind and their state of mind. Recovering meth addict, I know what that drug is like and what it does to you. So, we have later gotten text messages from Sherry and Cassandra. Sherry says that they had to leave that night because he was beefing with some girl named Joni, his girlfriend. Cassandra says she feels so guilty. Her heart is very heavy because they left him fighting with his girlfriend Joni on the hood of his car, and Joni drives off with little AJ on the hood of her car. Could have done anything. That's what Cassandra says. Deborah reaches out to me later to say, oh no, yeah, he was feeling, some kind of way. He was down because his dad is sick, which is true. He needed some friends. We showed up for him. Okay, that makes sense to me. But this part of the story is so different. She says AJ was on the back of a white SUV, but it was more of a verbal dispute between him and Joni. But AJ comes up to the car, says goodbye, I love you, we say goodbye, good night. Last time we saw him. Been looking at his Instagram, trying to chat with him, no response. Okay, so we have 2 very completely different stories about that night. Why? Why April the 8th? Why do we have conflicting stories there? Now, we've got messages to different friends and family that put AJ alive up until April 14th. And then no one hears from him after that. Now, we reached out to the Houston Police Department. We asked them to open a missing persons case on him, which they do. But for whatever reason, they couldn't get his ankle monitor log that showed where he was and at what time. Couldn't get it. They said we need to get a judge to sign off on that. We have a PI. The PI got a lawyer. The lawyer petitioned the judge to get his ankle monitor report. This is when the story starts getting very crazy, and we'll continue with part 3. Now, I am someone that gets signs. I am someone that sees visions. You can take that for what it is. I am not a devil worshiper. I am a follower of Christ, and I'm good with that. I don't need anyone to believe me. But this is just something that has always been a part of me since my brother was killed when I was 3, also at the age of 19. Tell me we don't have a generational curse. So, brother was killed at 19. My nephew was killed at 19. How do I know my nephew was killed at 19? Because he's been coming to me every day, even before I knew he was missing, asking me to help find him. I've had visions. I've written them down. I've drawn them. I've done audio recordings. I can prove all this. I also have an alibi, so if anyone thinks I killed him, I've been here the whole time. I don't live in Houston. I live in a different state. Now, here's where things get very, very weird. So I open up the GPS report, and I immediately find one page. And it's like this page is screaming at me. Like he's murdered at this place. Because I've already seen that he was murdered by a warehouse. There was a party there. He was murdered. He was shot. He was stabbed. They may have even done something to his ankle, like chopped it off. I've seen all this. I'm praying that I'm just crazy, because I will go sign into a mental hospital if my nephew's alive and well. I'll do it. Don't believe he's alive and well, because it's been 3 months and we haven't heard a peep. But, again, I just want to be crazy. And I don't want to believe in psychics or mediums or anything like that. I'll settle for not believing that and being crazy and signing up into the mental hospital to have my nephew alive and well. But I don't think I am. Because I pull over to this page, or open up to this page, and this address looks very, very odd. 3605 Lumberdale, northwest side of Houston. Put it in Google Maps. It's a white warehouse, just like the one I've seen in my visions. That's weird. Everything on that page is screaming at me. Uncle Paul, I was killed here. I don't want that to be true. But my nephew's ankle monitor pings there for 41 hours. Not 2 hours, not 4 hours, not one day, 41 hours. He gets to that warehouse on April the 16th, which is a Friday, at 3:36 in the morning. He doesn't leave, if he leaves alive, until April the 17th, Saturday at 9:16 p.m. What was he doing there? My visions, I see a party. Now, sent this to missing persons. They're looking for his girlfriend, haven't been able to find her. Meanwhile, the whole time my family's found her several times. You see it on my TikTok. Missing persons detectives can't find him. Now, this is not to bash HPD. They're incredibly overwhelmed. There's 4,000 officers in a city of 2.2 million people. And we'll catch up with the rest of this on part 4. All right, now, at this time, it's been just a little over about 2.5 months. So I'm getting annoyed with all of this. I'm getting restless. I'm sending my family to spots I think my nephew's remains were left at, because I'm seeing things and feeling things and hearing things. Not auditory hallucinations or visual hallucinations. Not that, I promise you. So, finally, not getting that many leads, I take it upon myself to go to Houston, back to my hometown. I drive there. When I get there, I said, okay, I had to recharge. I had to spiritually ground myself, because I knew there was going to be a lot that I was going to find, and find stuff I did. So I get the GPS report, and I start walking to locations where his ankle monitor pinged. First place I go is to the last place it was found, or the last place it pinged, not where it was found. Last place it pinged. We're talking 610 and TC Jester in Houston. You see me on TikTok. I'm walking through the bayous. Could have got a staph infection, could have got flesh-eating bacteria, but my family means shit to me. So I'm finding all kinds of weird stuff, but nothing concrete at this point. So we go to the Lumberdale location at night. I don't know why. But I don't know why I do a lot of things, but they seem to pay off. We go to the Lumberdale location at night. I immediately pull up between these two little containers by a fence. Stop there for a while. I don't know why. At this point, I don't know why. But I just stopped there in my car, parked my car there with my cousin Jennifer. We're praying for God to help us, to keep us safe, for little AJ to send us some signs, and send us signs he does. Because we're being watched this entire time. So we drive up just a little bit, closer to the warehouse, which is not far. It's just right across, right, like, just right there. Pull up outside the warehouse, and we're being watched. So I have like fight or flight. These could be the people that killed my nephew, or they could be witnesses. At this point, I said, fuck it, I'm here in Houston. Let me go talk to him. So I asked Dad, and I was like, hey, did you see anything? Dad doesn't speak English. My Spanish is not great. He sent his daughter out. I said, hi, did you happen to see my nephew here? I show her a picture. Yes, I did. She saw him in mid-April. He was running from the warehouse, down the street there, towards the spot where my car first parked, where I first parked my car. He was shot twice, in the head and in the chest, covered in garbage bags, left there like trash. And we'll pick this up on the other side. Now, daughter is pretty adamant that she saw AJ. She saw AJ. She saw folks running away from him, whose descriptions I'll say for now, but I do have them. Sees him there for hours. Her boyfriend takes a picture of him. Sends it to her dad. So now we've gone from missing persons to homicide, which I already knew, but I needed something concrete to give the detectives. So we have a meeting with detectives the next day. We go in there, we're there for hours. In the meantime, Maya Shea from Channel 13 News, ABC, the ABC affiliate in Houston, calls me. She wants to set up an interview. So we go back to the warehouse with the detectives who's already taken our statement. We go to the warehouse with Maya Shea of Channel 13 News, and we interview the eyewitness yet again. Cops were initially just going to walk away from her. They said, oh, her mother has a conflicting story, claims she saw AJ alive. So they're just going to walk away from the eyewitness? Why? So I said, no. Eyewitness comes back to us. I said, and I had her repeat everything she told me to the detectives with Maya Shea there recording. Now, having all this recorded, detectives asked her to show us the spot where he was killed. So she walks us over there. She's hesitant, but she does walk us over there. As she's walking us over there, again, someone very schooled in psychology, she's having a classic trauma response. She's shaking, she's crying, she's stammering, her words are stammering. She is very anxious. This is not a girl who's making something up. This is a woman who saw a murder. And she's not a girl, by the way. She's an adult. She is an adult. She walks us over there. My nephew was killed directly across from the AA meeting at 3619 Lumberdale. So, we have an eyewitness to a murder. We have Maya Shea recording for Channel 13 News. We're expecting it to air that night. It never airs. To this day, it still has not aired. Not sure why. Case goes over to homicide. Homicide detectives, not that they're paid to be nice, but they're not showing even a shred of empathy. They've hung up on 2 of my family members, including myself. Look, I'm not here to bash the cops, but they're treating my nephew like he doesn't fucking matter, and he does matter. Yes, my nephew had a checkered past. Baby, we all have checkered past. But they're not even showing the smallest amount of compassion for his family. Not I'm sorry you went through this. Pure ego. And if you're watching this, detective, I say that with honesty, because you're all in your ego, and I need you to show some heart, because my nephew's life matters to his family. And we'll pick this up on the other side. I start posting things on TikTok. Not saying exactly what I have. but saying I have some things. And I start getting a lot of traction. Not entirely positive. My cousin Rachel is also reaching out to me at this point because I'm wondering what happened in that car. And if her daughter, Cassandra, feels so guilty about leaving him there, why? I just want her to clear that up. So I tell Rachel, I would like to talk to Cassandra. Rachel flips out. Rachel, sue me. But I'm trying my best to cover her name. But sue me. So Rachel flips out. So she threatens to sue me for slander because she says I literally accused her of killing him. You can go through my TikToks. If you can find that video, I'll apologize. You're not going to find it though. We go to see Cassandra. Cassandra looks me in the eye. She's very kind, very pleasant. Nothing setting off any alarm bells, except for her mother's behavior. The entire time we're there, her mother's blowing up her phone. You can hear her screaming through the phone. And Cassandra's just like, Mom, calm down, I got this. She hangs up on her mother. She looks me directly in the eyes and tells me she doesn't know anything else about my nephew's disappearance. I want to believe her. I've known her since she was born. Okay, not a big deal. But her mom is still blowing up my phone. Her mom sends me messages, again, threatening to sue me for slander. She sends me screenshots to her attorney, her disability attorney, which she asked him if what I'm doing is legal. If I'm literally accusing her of killing her brother, if that's legal. Well, no, that's not legal. That would be slanderous if, in fact, I did that, which I did not do. But in that screenshot, she's not very good at editing because she shows me that she's been fighting for her mother's Social Security survivor benefits for the past 10 years. She also posts on my cousin's Facebook page that she's mad at little AJ for taking her mom's attention her entire life. Little AJ is significantly younger than Rachel. Rachel's older than me. I'm 37. Rachel's like 10, 15-ish years older than me. She's harboring a grudge. She also says that if little AJ is dead, then big AJ should be dead in the grave because he killed 2 people. Assuming the other one is her mother, which Rachel pulled the plug on her. My Uncle AJ wasn't even in the room. It was Rachel and her brother, not my uncle. She has a grudge. Let me state for the record, I do not think that Cassandra and Sherry killed my nephew. But I do think they're withholding information. Their mother has pretty much said that. When I was interviewing Cassandra, again, who was incredibly kind, didn't lead me to suspect her at all. Rachel is sending me text messages saying, did you really think you were going to scare her into saying something? What is there to scare her into saying? And she's also calling me psychotic. She's also going to a gun store and proudly posting publicly on her Facebook page that she's locked and loaded. After we posted one flyer in her Crosby neighborhood. Crosby, for those who don't know, it's a suburb of Houston. It's right outside Baytown. It's not known for a lot of crime or murders or shootings. So what is she afraid of? I'm not trying to kill her. Why would I do that? Believe it or not, I still consider her family. Maybe a little crazy, but we're all a little crazy. But I still consider her family, and I still consider Cassandra and Sherry family. But I want to know what happened to my nephew, and I will exhaust every avenue to do that, including questioning other family members, as I think anyone would. So, here's where we're at currently. One of those cousins in that car flies out on April the 19th, or flies out, leaves, I'm not sure if she flew, but she leaves town April 19th, 2 days after the GPS monitor pings at Lumberdale for the last time. We've yet to find the monitor. We've yet to find a body. We have eyewitnesses that say my nephew was there and covered in garbage bags. This is a warehouse district. It would have been easy to throw him into a bobtail truck, take him to, because the next stop is at Joe V Smart Shop on the Northwest Freeway, the 43rd Street exit. He's there for just about 2 hours. I'm thinking they threw him in a dumpster, and then his ankle monitor pings the next few dumpster pickups. That's my thinking. I'm also thinking somebody knows a lot. Here's the key players, I think. Joni, obviously, because she's in hiding. I know my cousins know more. I don't know that they necessarily killed him, but I know they know more. So I will allegedly say they know more. Because their stories are conflicting. And why are they conflicting? If you tell the truth, that's all you gotta do. Like, somebody in that car is not telling the truth. Somebody in that car on April the 8th. And I'll pick this up on the other side. So, HPD Homicide Division, incredibly uncompassionate, rude, cruel, hangs up on family members. Doesn't seem to care to help. If that's me bashing the department, so be it. But if I post that phone call, you guys would probably be appalled as well. Keep in mind, they're talking to family members who have lost a family member, likely in a very brutal manner, and they have the gall to hang up on us when we ask questions. We were going to reach out to City Council on a couple occasions, but we had the sergeant, or the liaison, of the Houston Police Department reach out to us, begging us not to give the officers a chance. I gave missing persons a chance. They didn't do anything until I got on the ground and got an eyewitness, which moved it over to homicide. Homicide, when I try and call them, they hang up on me, saying they can only speak to the mother. That's where we're at with that. Maya Shea still hasn't aired the footage. Why, Maya? I'm looking you directly in the eyes and asking why. You were there, I trusted you, and I have been a huge cheerleader of yours since Hurricane Ike. So why, Maya? I've reached out to John Cornyn, Ted Cruz, my senator, Senator Heinrich, Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham of my state, Governor Greg Abbott of Texas. I have reached out to Sheila Jackson Lee and Sylvia Garcia and even AOC, because my nephew's story needs a proper ending, and the freaking officials that we pay need to be held to account, because he fell through the system. System lost my nephew, and the system got him murdered. Because if they were truly watching him, he wouldn't be in this position. And you best believe that if my nephew was wearing an ankle monitor and murdered someone, their family would be suing the city for wrongful death. Tell me I'm wrong. Now, I don't pretend to know what cops go through. I know COVID was hell for everyone, but particularly for frontline workers. I understand that. I was with one at the time. It tore him up emotionally and psychologically. So I'm not going to pretend like their job is easy. Their job is not easy. It's one of the hardest fucking jobs in this country. I get that. But if you could have just an ounce of compassion or show an ounce of caring, we would probably be a lot further in this case than we are now. They don't seem to care. They don't seem to have a heart or any shred of a heart. That's where we're at. Houston media doesn't seem to give a fuck either. You know who got this case going? Grizzly's Hood News. Grizzly Castillo, I owe you my world. And when this case ends, baby, I'm going to help you in any way I possibly can. I'm already starting a book on this because my nephew's story deserves to be fucking told. TikTok, I love you. You are making this story go live, and let's get justice for baby AJ.